Willow Lane had always seemed like a peaceful neighborhood, perfect lawns, shiny fences, and the glow of streetlights at dusk. But behind the white picket charm was the dreaded HOA, run by Karen Whitmore, a woman who treated her title like royalty. For years, my family tried to keep our heads down, follow the rules, and avoid drama. My daughter, Emily, just 7 years old, was born with muscular dystrophy. She spent most of her time in a wheelchair, but loved going outside with her service dog, Max, a playful brown and white shepherd mix. Max was gentle, loyal, and the reason Emily felt free. Karen, however, despised Max. She complained about his barking, claimed he ruined the HOA's image, and constantly threatened us with citations. We brushed it off until the day it turned deadly. That Saturday started like any other. Emily and Max were in the front yard, enjoying the warm breeze. I was fixing the fence when I saw Karen stomping down the sidewalk, gripping something shiny. At first, I thought it was her phone. But as she came closer, dread crept in. She wasn't filming, she was holding a gun. "Control that mutt, or I will," Karen yelled, her knuckles white around the handle of her pistol. My heart pounded as I dropped my tools and rushed toward Emily. Max stood in front of her, tail wagging, unaware of the danger. Emily, confused, looked back at me with wide eyes. "Daddy, why is she mad again?" she whispered. Karen ranted about dangerous animals and HOA policies, even though Max was a certified service dog. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, but no one came out. That's how it always was. People were too scared to confront Karen. "Put the gun down, Karen," I shouted, stepping between her and my daughter. She didn't listen. With pure rage in her eyes, Karen raised the gun, aimed at Max, and pulled the trigger. Time slowed. The loud crack echoed down Willow Lane. Emily let out a small gasp, and I watched helpless as she slumped from her wheelchair onto the grass, blood staining her white shirt. The bullet meant for Max had missed and hit my little girl instead. My screams pierced the calm suburban air. I dropped to my knees, cradling Emily in my arms. Her tiny body trembled, her face pale, her shirt soaking red. Max barked frantically, circling around us. Karen stood frozen for a second, the gun still in her hand, before muttering, "It was the dog made me do it." Neighbors who had stayed hidden were now pouring out of their homes. Phones came out, recording everything. Mrs. Patel, our elderly neighbor, rushed over with a towel. "Apply pressure," she shouted. My wife, Jessica, sprinted out of the house, her screams joining mine. "Emily, no, no," she cried, falling to the ground beside us. Sirens wailed in the distance, but every second felt like an eternity. Emily's breathing was shallow, her eyelids fluttering. I clenched my jaw, rage and helplessness boiling over. Karen stood by the sidewalk, still trying to justify her actions, yelling about HOA violations and dangerous animals. I looked her in the eye and promised, "You're going to pay for this." Minutes later, the flashing lights of patrol cars lit up Willow Lane. Officers jumped out, guns drawn, ordering Karen to drop her weapon. Karen was still rambling when they tackled her to the ground. Her wrists were cuffed, face pressed to the sidewalk, still screaming about neighborhood safety. The officers didn't care. They read her rights and dragged her to the back of a squad car. Paramedics rushed to Emily, stabilizing her. Max wouldn't leave her side until Jessica scooped him up. They rushed Emily to the hospital, sirens blaring. One officer stayed behind, Officer Ramirez. "We've had complaints about her for months," he admitted, looking furious. "But no one thought it would come to this." I clenched my fists. Karen wasn't just facing HOA complaints now. She was facing attempted murder charges. The hospital room was filled with machines, beeping monitors, and sterile air. Emily underwent surgery to remove the bullet lodged dangerously close to her ribs. The doctors worked for hours. Jessica held my hand, tears running down her face, whispering prayers. I stared through the glass, terrified I'd lose my baby girl. Max sat quietly in the corner of the waiting room, unusually still, sensing the tension. Finally, the surgeon walked out, his expression grim but steady. "She made it through surgery. It was close, but she's strong." Relief crashed over us, but the anger remained. Our daughter was alive, but traumatized. We both knew justice had to be served. The media got wind of the story within hours. Headlines screamed, HOA leader shoots child over dog dispute. Willow Lane turned into a media circus. Karen's smug HOA reign crumbled overnight. Residents came forward with stories of her threats, harassment, and unlawful citations. Videos surfaced of her berating neighbors, vandalizing yards, and intimidating families. The HOA board scrambled to distance themselves, claiming she acted alone. But it was too late. Investigations revealed misuse of HOA funds and illegal enforcement tactics. Karen wasn't just a neighborhood tyrant, she was a criminal hiding behind HOA rules. Emily's story ignited public outrage, demanding HOA accountability nationwide. 6 months later, Karen sat in court, no longer smug but pale and broken. The courtroom was packed, local news covering every second. We testified, showing videos, medical records, and the trauma Karen inflicted. Doctors explained Emily's physical recovery, but also her emotional scars, nightmares, panic attacks, fear of going outside. Karen's defense crumbled. The jury didn't take long. Guilty on all charges: aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and child endangerment. The judge's words rang loud. You abused your power, broke the law, and harmed an innocent child. You will serve time and be held accountable. A year later, Willow Lane looked different. The HOA was dissolved, a new neighborhood association formed with real community spirit. Karen was behind bars, forgotten by most. Emily, though still healing, smiled more each day. Her therapy was ongoing, but she was walking short distances with braces and Max loyally by her side. She was braver, stronger, her spirit unbroken. Jessica and I watched her one afternoon, playing in the yard with Max. The same yard where tragedy struck, now filled with laughter again. We learned that justice, though slow, comes, and no HOA tyrant, no matter how loud, could ever break a family's love or silence the truth. Our neighborhood got its peace back because we stood up and fought for it.